Hello and welcome to Sumner. And now we will finally make our way to the palace here, through the sort of park area. Now this was called the Crown District, I even remember it well now. And just to think, you know, young viewers, all the little NPCs we helped through the first half of the game, they are probably dead or at least displaced by now. Summoner! Epic adventure and constant death. But no, I am joking about all the grimness in this game, but you know what? It makes it feel epic. You know, it makes you feel like you're fighting an actual threat. You know, this world-destroying demonic forces here. Here we have the Mage Gauntlets. Will give you +1 to heal, but I don't need know that because I already have my heal up to level 10. Speaking of which, that's the thing I want to do with Jakar soon. He knows heal, but I want to make sure he knows the proper heal spells. So next time he levels up, all his points are going into heal. Here we see the park. Again, sort of a grim reminder. I mean, this place should be green and full of life. Yeah, honestly, I'm going to say it again, I don't think we really needed to go through the sewers again. We could have just come through the front gate and then made our way through the town. But then again, I should really stop going on about it. Ah, fire. I always trust in that element. It always seems the most useful. I was thinking if Joseph was here, what kind of summons I would use. And again, fire is the most useful element, although on the downside there are no like... Oh, actually there is a fire elemental, there's sort of black fire elemental, but surprisingly enough, even though he's made of fire, he doesn't really use fire attacks. So I don't see the point. Oh, and I guess the red monitor knows a few fire moves. Oh, and there is a summon coming up very later on, which does know quite a few fireness. But we'll get to that later. Speaking of which, you know, as I'm recording this at the time, I was thinking, oh, I have to show off these new summons, because when we recapture the demon rings again, we do get more of them. I also think I will give this game credit for is the fact that it does introduce new enemies every so often. In fact, when we get to when we make our way through this city one last time, they do introduce a new enemy even at that point. Just gone from our stats here. Oh yeah, now these are the combos which you if you've forgotten what they are, I don't blame you because I haven't really brought them up again. But as you attack enemies with melees, you can sort of chain these attacks together by pressing the D-pad. Like you attack an enemy, then you press up, then you press left, and then down, and then up or whatever. And anyway, I just taught myself the Steel Skin attack, which will increase Jakar's defense. Very useful. Oh no, this is another piece of the Tome of the Niviseum. Now, out of our trip here, we picked one of these up in the sewer, one of these up just now, and we have one more left to collect at the palace. So that's very important to note, and there are 8 of these, remember. And really, when it comes to this Tome of the Niviseum side quest, I actually just like the idea of collecting the tomes more than the actual reward. And now this point's very frustrating because they sort of gang up on me and sort of split up my party members. Wow, did you see that? I just did 500 damage to the guy lying on the floor. I mean, granted, that could be because his defense is really lowered, or just because of, you know, Jakar's critical hit ability. Now, speaking of which, Rosalind also has this critical hit ability, but I think it only applies to physical attacks. It doesn't actually apply to magical abilities. I mean, damage inflicted by magical abilities, magical attacks. You know, part of me is thinking, now that I know how effective the sort of critical hit ability can be, maybe I should have used Rosalind. Maybe I should have gave Rosalind like a staff. I mean, granted, she wouldn't have been the best melee fighter because, as you can see, she's quite easily taken down physically. But yeah, it could be interesting if she had like a staff with a trip ability and a critical hit ability. She could have been actually quite devastating. Well, I'll probably never do this, but it would be interesting to like play this game with a condition of having no magical attacks. Have everyone be a melee fighter. Like, I was thinking that really would make the gargoyles a pain to play through. But then again, I could plan out my route so I never have to fight the gargoyles. Actually, I think, can you do that? And I'm thinking there are lots of points where you don't need magic attacks. What I mean is there are no points when you absolutely have to use a magical attack. Well, that sort of piqued my interest. Okay, that's it. Jeff Flight will now play Summoner PS2 a no magic run in, let's say, 2020. In 7 years, you can hold me to that. I will do a no magic run of this game. Speaking of which, it is 2013, isn't it? For some reason, I keep thinking it's 2012. I can't explain why I think that, I just do. So, yeah, I've been watching Doctor Who lately. Like I always do, I guess, and apparently Matt Smith is leaving. Which is a shame, because the thing is, I think he's actually a great Doctor. But the writing of his episodes, they could have been a lot better. It's not just Moffat, but they just seem poorly paced. And again, the thing is, Moffat does know how to write a good mystery, but at the same point, he focuses too much on the mystery. For example, this Clara character. The thing is with Clara is, it's really clever what she is, but I still don't know I don't know who she is. Then again, Moffat does have this habit of writing all female characters to be sassy and have an attitude, which makes them kind of generic. Anyway, I'm talking about Doctor Who here. I'm still making my way through the city, and we're nearly there. See, as I'm walking through the city now, I'm thinking of all the places it used to be. Like, round that corner, that's where one of the Uraf monks used to stand. And a bit further around the other corner, there used to be the jeweler. Now, this is the meteor attack. Again, I've been hesitant to use it because it does damage your alloys, but at this point it does a lot more damage to your enemies, so it is worth using at this point. I find it doesn't do too much damage. I mean, granted, these guys are weak against fire. I think that's the only reason why it really worked that well. But yeah, meteor definitely becomes very useful. But at least you get to see some of the more fancy spells. Yeah, see, in games they tend to have like this super duper ultimate spell, or at least a very powerful spell, but honestly in this game you probably are better off using just fire arrows throughout the game. And I'm thinking again, this area used to be the jewelers. Oh, and I used to come here at the early parts of the game and sell my jewels I used to find or something. I forget what I'm trying to say, but I'm just saying it is very reminiscent. See, in the earlier parts, I gave this game a bit of slack for having a city that's too big. Yeah, and arguably it is still too big, but you know, at least it's fleshed out. Like I know this section here used to be where Pomporo, the innkeeper, used to live. And there is an argument made when you have like this sort of destroyed city. It just makes you wonder, you know, why did I bother working so hard to save the land if it's just going to end up like this? Now this section here, just be careful. Just try and take them on one at a time, because there's like 2 mummies and there's 2 guards. That's, again, I've said this so many times, but that's your biggest threat when it comes to playing this game. It's being outnumbered. Yeah, the Bassa is awesome, particularly if you can get 2 of these knocking down weapons and give one to Joseph and Jakar. Humanoid enemies really don't become much of a threat. Well, apart from one of them, and you'll see why much later on. I want to do like this violin melody. Da 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 da. Oh, the Medallion of Power. Okay, I guess. Not really bothered.
It won't open.
Oh no! See, the trouble is, I need Fleece with me to open these barriers here. And at least when you kill these liches, you get the Tome of Revive, which is very handy. Oh god, these guys just feel like filler enemies at the moment. Luckily, in the second game, they do have a lot more variety when it comes to the enemies. But anyway, you can see we're approaching the temple with only just one of these guards left to face. And luckily, we don't have to make our way all the way to the palace. You know, just walking across this stair. Walking up to these stairs will take us the rest of the way. So, I'm seeing what to do more damage, the melee attacks or the lightning bolts, but speaking of which, join me in the next part, where we'll be finally liberating this city, or what's left of it.